Okay, and we are live. Welcome everyone. This is our Book of Boba Fett discussion. Spoilers. We're going to be spoiling everything episode by episode on what we liked and did not like about each episode. I am joined with a fellow compatriot who also endured the suffering of Book of Boba Fett with me, and I've been a part of his podcast as well, and that is.
GeneralCJG here. The Spartan had to endure the pain that was Book of Boba Fett.
Yep. We've been doing a lot of the podcast. We've been spoiling everything on there for per episode. So if you want to see our full thoughts on each episode, spoilers, go check that out as well. So I'll try to put like a link in the description for like a playlist or something, so you guys can check that out. And we'll also have CJ. You want to mention episode 7?
Episode 7. So, State of Star Wars is going to do something a bit different in regards to Book of Boba Fett. Whereas in every single episode, we just go through our summary of thoughts, then go through the entire episode piece by piece. Episode 7 will be doing that, but half of the episode will be focused on discussing the behind the scenes of Book of Boba Fett. Yes, the behind the scenes. What happened that led into the show that we actually got at the end of the day. And yes, we have plenty of info in regards to what actually happened. So definitely check that out if some of you are curious as to why the show feels like either it's rushed or that it's Mandalorian season 3. So there's that.
Yep. Look out for episode 7, especially. That's going to be the final one for Book of Boba Fett. So recommend you check that out.
Mm-hmm.
With that being said, we're going to go episode by episode and talk about what we liked and did not like about each episode. And we'll be fairly quick. We're not going to be like spending too long per episode. But if you want to see our full analysis per episode, check out the State of Star Wars discussion. But anyway, we'll start off with episode 1. So this is Stranger in a Strange Land. And we start off with Boba in a bacta tank, and as he's reliving his past, and we see him as a kid, his life at Camino, and we also have him, escaping from the Sarlacc pit, which is pretty cool as he survives from there, and then, his armor gets taken away from the
Jawas.
Jawas, and then he gets taken hostage by Tuskens. So it just gets worse and worse with Boba. And now he's a prisoner for the Tuskens at this time. And he tries freeing himself a couple times, but eventually he just stays with the Tuskens. And then I'm just gonna do this quickly. Then we can focus on the present. He goes to throughout. He sticks with the Tuskens, and then eventually he saves one of the Tuskens from a monster in the end, and that was a badass moment, I gotta admit. And the past moments you definitely see, like the flashbacks and stuff, are actually pretty cool in that episode, really cool stuff. And then we also go to the present, and we start to see problems from here. So we go to the present where Boba gets out of his bacta tank, and we see this a lot. He's gonna be in his bacta tank and then escape, getting out of the bacta tank. It's a common thing throughout the first, I think, 4 to 5 episodes at least, and then it's like you don't see that anymore. It's just kind of a contrivance just to set up for the flashbacks and stuff like that. But anyway, he wakes up and Fennec Shan is there. And he says, "Oh, I'm going to see my people," and walk out in the streets. And people start giving gifts to Boba, and he goes to like the different people, different higher ups and stuff like that, saying he's a generous and good crime lord of sorts. And then he gets ambushed by some assassins, and this is when you start to see when things get bad, because the whole fight sequence that happened there was really messy. Fennec Shan is actually, actually did held her own. But Boba was really struggling throughout this whole fight, and he couldn't get out. He didn't even use his jetpack, and you also see him like not even use his helmet. I mean, he didn't even have his helmet on.
Hmm.
Like this is the thing. What I didn't get is like he keeps on taking off his helmet, revealing who he is to everyone, so they can see like, oh, that's the crime lord. Now I know his identity. Now I'm going to, you know, hunt him down, or now I have his face, so now I know what he looks like and stuff like that. It's like you want to keep yourself inconspicuous, but if you reveal your face like that, it kind of defeats the purpose to me.
Not
Um,
only that, but but well, in the EU, we did find out how Boba Fett's helmet worked. In Disney Star Wars, we do have information, and it's not too dissimilar from the EU, but definitely a bit pared down. So basically, the helmet still has that same heads-up display that pretty much helps Boba Fett being able to track down, and it's kind of similar to Mando's heads-up display, actually, the one we see in Mandalorian in 1 and 2. It's kind of similar to it, but a bit more on the advanced, and also being able to use all sorts of voice commands and stuff in order for him to not to activate his equipment with just simply using his voice rather than just his hands, and also for controlling the slave one. Like that shit is pretty damn advanced. You'd think Boa would have that helmet on in order to, in case he cannot reach his weapons or something, he'd be able to have the armor automatically shoot his rockets or something. Like that'd be pretty useful. Or hell, just for the fact the armor is made of Beskar, to make sure headshots don't get into
mhm.
any headshots don't work.
Yeah,
So.
exactly. And I think in that fight too, it's like they use these shields, and he's not sure how to escape from that shield sequence. He doesn't jump up. He doesn't go for their legs. I'm not sure. I don't remember if those shields actually reach down to their legs. I don't think so. But not even to
Mm,
reach their legs or go around them in any single way. But Fennec Shan was able to do it pretty quickly. But he could not figure that out, and he's supposed to be like the best bounty hunter ever.
do you want to know something I just realized? When did okay, this is probably gonna be something we're gonna have to check in all the episodes, but has Boba Fett used his whipcord in the entirety of this show?
That's a good question. I thought he did it in the last episode, but that wasn't the case. That was actually Fennec Shah.
No, that was Fennec. So yeah, that would be a pretty damn useful tool to pretty much either disarm opponents or make them trip or something. He didn't use it in the first episode, and I think he never used it in the whole show.
Yeah, he struggled big time, and he even tried to use a flamethrower, and that backfired immediately. So
God.
that was just messy off the bat, and yeah, it's just to start the thing for bad things to come later on in this season, unfortunately.
Hmm.
So this one is actually directed by Robert Rodriguez, which is take it or leave it. But I guess we'll. I don't know. I guess it's like it's so weird because like he did the Mandalorian with the reveal of Boba Fett and him having this crazy awesome action sequences and stuff, and then in this it's like the fuck happened to Boba? Like why the fuck has he just like regressed so badly, like to an amateur level? Like this is like really bad. And there is this part where okay, there's the back to sequence with him. So I get it, he's trying to heal and stuff, but is it really affecting him so much that he can't even fight? Because like even with the Tuscans, he looks like he's able to fight on his own, no problem. So
Hmm.
what happened to that Boba Fett? Because it's like I understand he would be in a severely weakened state after that, the Sarlacc pit and stuff like that, because the digestive juices are just they're messing up your body in some way, weakening your system dramatically. But he's
Hmm.
still able to hold his own, no problem.
Not
Uh,
to mention, Mando season 2 happened before Book of Boba Fett chronologically, and in there he kicked absolute ass to the point that he was a force to be reckoned with.
yeah,
So,
and it was like years later he's able to fight, and then Book of Boba Fett, it's like a couple months later, and it's like no, I can't fight again. I can't fight. I can't do this shit.
Yeah. So some told me or told us actually that the show would explain it, would explain why Boba's not the same as before. Spoiler alert, no. We didn't get it.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
But
yeah. I think as I mentioned in episode one, because discussing how much Boba Fett regressed, I think we'll have to save it for the third episode. Oh, God.
yeah, yeah. I think episode one was honestly at the time and still to this day is probably a good. It was a decent episode. You know,
Hmm.
looking
Hmm.
back at it now, it's decent. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's episode one. Not bad. Episode two is the Tribes of Tatooine, and personally for me, I think this was the best episode just to feature Boba Fett, not with Mando.
Hmm.
Just Boba Fett by himself. I thought this was the best episode with him, centered on him.
Hmm.
Because you'll see later on that's like not the case. It's like the Mandalorian TV show. It's not Book of Boba Fett. But anyway, we're gonna talk about this episode two. So
Hmm.
we start off with the present. Fennec Shand leads the captured prisoner back to Jabba's palace. Boba questions him, and they trick him into telling information that Mokshai's is the one who hired him and the assassins. They go to Mokshai's to see him, and he's like, "Nah, I didn't do that shit. You're just it's nonsense." And yeah, so that Boba just leaves from there, and later on, oh, the huts. Yeah, that's the thing. The huts
Oh,
appear.
God. I forgot about them.
You would think they would play a bigger part, but they don't. Which is like you would think it's a bigger thing in the story, but no, not at all. As they leave in the I don't remember which episode it was, but
It's the next one, episode
oh,
three.
it's okay. Yeah, because that would have been cool. Because like they're the OG crime lords, like the
Hmm.
original and awesome. You know, that's how crime lords are.
Fun fact. Fun fact. I've seen several people online say that that they vastly prefer the Huts to having the final the enemies that Boa would face in this show than the Pike Syndicate. They vastly
Absolutely.
prefer the Huts.
Yeah, because there's I mean the huts always have like this nature of grimy, dirty criminal underworld behind them. And since like back with Return of the Jedi, it's built up
Hmm.
from there, and people have always wanted to see the huts just do something more than that. And we would have expanded universe material that would expand upon that and show them as just complete assholes and actually have this this would be explored and this would be done in the prequels as well. It's like they control like this small segment of the galaxy where even
Yeah,
slavery
true.
is
Yeah.
allowed and stuff, and which is completely messed up in the this Star Wars galactic you know galaxy and stuff like
Hmm.
that, which is crazy.
Hmm. You know what would have been better if the Huts were behind everything and the Pike Syndicate were just the front of it. I think it
Yeah,
would have been better.
yeah, that would have been much cooler. Absolutely.
Hmm.
Yeah. Um,
But no, we didn't get that.
nope, not at all. The show is too stupid to do that. The writers are too stupid to. Okay, so yeah, the Huts come, and there's a big Wookiee that comes, and he would come to play in the next episode. Um,
Hmm.
and then we go back to the Bacta tank, and this is when all the interesting Tusken stuff and the past sequences happen. And I think that's it for the present. I don't think there's anything
It
more.
is. It
Yeah,
is.
yeah. So the present is pretty short, thankfully, thank God. But it, yeah, it's stupid. Um, the past is when Boba decides to, um, because the Pikes are coming on this train and just shooting down and mowing down these Tuskens, that he sees the Tuskens as family now. He's accepted as their family, and he comes up with a way to, um, go into the
Destroy the train.
hijack
Hmm.
and destroy the train itself, and get a bunch of loot and stuff like that. And he uses swoop bikes, and then you see the meme of him trying to train the Tuskens to use technology, and because the Tuskens are very
Primitive.
technology not technology driven at all. They're used to the old
Hmm.
ways. He's teaching them, and you have this meme where it's like it's like a bank back bantha, and he's like revving it up like a motorcycle,
Like a banta.
like a bantha. Oh god, that
Uh,
meme.
we want to know what's even funnier? The Tusken Raider gets on the soup bike and he goes in reverse.
Yep. Yeah, and they're all messing up miserably, but they slowly but surely learn. Um,
Hmm.
and then at the end, I'm just gonna be pretty quick about it, but they go to the train, like hijack it and destroy it, and then Boba actually makes the mistake to spare the Pike Syndicate uh, people there, and tells them to pay a tribute to them, and lets them go into the desert, back to where they came from,
Hmm.
and that will come back to bite him in the butt.
Mm. Yeah,
And then also you
it
see like
would.
him having the vision and the the weirdly bizarre lizard nose thing vision,
Oh
and
God.
yeah, that was really fucking weird, and
Yeah.
it coming out of his nose again, but I mean, despite some bad moments in this episode, it was probably the best episode they could have done, and
Hmm.
I liked it. I thought it was a really great episode. I loved the whole action sequence with the train heist. I thought that was great. I
Yeah.
liked it.
Honestly, yeah. Like it seemed that with the first episode started decent, and the second episode it was getting better. Like we thought the quality was gonna get better and better with each episode, and oh God, our expectations were so far. Oh God.
Yeah.
So yeah, episode two was great. So no complaint, not many complaints with me here.
So
No, it's the.
so yeah, I mean, it's been a good start to the season, I would say. Not a bad start.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
say what you want about um, the first episode, the second episode definitely lifted it up for me.
Mm-hmm.
Now this is when things shit hits the fan, and this is the worst episode that we have to talk about. It's called "The Streets
Oh
of Mos Espa,"
God.
and yeah,
Oh.
this is mainly focused on the present time because we all love the present time. And
Mm-hmm.
um, Boba's at he gives a briefing to Bib. No, Droid gives a briefing.
No, what he basically is, what's basically happening is that Boba Fett and Fennec, they're like receiving all sorts of tributes from several people. And then this watermonger comes in and he's like asking Fett to take care of a small group of cybernetic people that are just causing trouble to his water supplies. And so, and the warmonger promises Boba that he'll double the tribute if he manages to take care of that. And so from there, well, Boba and Fennec go to check what's going on. And they find the mods. That's what they're called, the mods. And what are these mods, the Django?
I thought they would be much cooler than they sounded like, but they're supposed to be cybernetic humans, but they're literally like humans with like, oh, I have a robot eye or a robot arm or leg. That's it. They're not like truly cybernetic. Like this is not. They couldn't have done a
Mm.
cool design like Oh my god, I keep mentioning him, but I forget his name. Moff. God, he's like Imperial Moff who got betrayed in Empire series. God, I'm blanking on his name, but he's like he has like two robot eyes and like a robotic mouth, and that was such a cool fucking design. And they can't even. They're so fucking lazy. They can't even do that shit. And they don't even fucking look like they belong in the Star Wars universe. Not even in Cyberpunk, mind you, too. Like, they look so lazily put together, their costume design. It's embarrassing.
The worst is not only that, the worst is that literally they look like freaking cyber spy kids.
Yeah. And oh, yeah, by the way, this is directed by Robert Rodriguez, this episode.
Yeah, so calling them spy kids is more than appropriate.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what else happens with these mods?
Okay, well, this mods, well, they end up working for Boba Fett, and Boba Fett takes them under the wing, and they start working for him. And then, well, Boba is on a freaking back the tank for an extra flashback, but the flashback, well, it's pretty short-lived. So, Django, do you want to mention what happened in the flashback?
Let's see. What happened in that flashback? Um, I think he says goodbye to the Tuscans, goes to Mos
Mm-hmm.
Eisley,
Mm-hmm.
and sees the Pike Syndicate for the tribute, but they say they can't do it for now, and says, "Oh, you gotta take care of this Nikto swoop gang." He goes back to the Tuscan camp and finds it destroyed and everyone killed. And we
Mm-hmm.
see the sign of the swoop gang label on there to incriminate them. That's them. But of course, I called it and said, nope, that's not the case. There's no way in hell I could see that coming. Um, but I
Mm-hmm.
thought they were just too stupid to just go after Tuscans of all people because they're pretty adept fighters. And yeah, that wasn't the case for later on.
The worst part about this is that this literally does not play whatsoever to the main plot until the very freaking end of the
Very end.
show.
Yep. Yep.
Like it ended up just being a throwaway line at the end.
That was bad. That was bad.
Hmm. Yep. And the flashback ends, but why did it end, Django?
Because he's awoken by a Wookiee, a chrysanthem.
Carsantan.
He
Yep.
literally just infiltrated everyone in this in this
Somehow.
yeah, and he grabs him and he just chucks him around and he throws Boba everywhere because Boba was trying to fight him, but that's not happening. So Chrysanthemum is just chucking him around, and then the spy kids come and try to save him. That's not the case. Gamorreans come, try to save him, and then Fennec Shan comes and of course saves him. And
By only tripping the trapdoor that leads to
yeah,
the Rancor.
yeah, but still she could take out Chrysanthemum by herself too, like if she wanted to.
Yeah, it makes you wonder how Boba Fett is so incapable of taking down somebody with his own hands. Hell, he wasn't even able to use his own equipment that was alongside him. Like he had been able to gather one of the wrists, but he didn't do shit with it. Not even throw missiles or flamethrower or nothing.
Yeah. Hmm.
So yeah, nope. Spy Kids had to save him.
Yeah, pretty much.
So there's that. So they capture Corsantan, then they discuss that probably the Hutt sent them, and oh, lo and behold, what happens next?
They go. The Huts appear, and they freaking release Chrysanthemum back to the Huts, and the Huts don't want him. But the fact that they released Chrysanthemum back to them um, was shocking to me. I guess he wanted to be in good relations with the Huts, but okay. And
Mhm.
he has let's see. Oh,
The Hutts.
he wants to learn how to ride the Rancor later on too, because
Oh yeah, because the Hutts
Huts.
gifted Boba Fett a Rancor.
Yep. Yeah, and but the only cool thing was that Machete is the Beastmaster.
Yeah. Yes,
But he's
yes.
only
That.
featured in this episode, and like
Yeah.
not in. I thought he would be premiered like maybe like one or two episodes in the series. No, this is it. You don't see him ever
Yeah.
again, which is a damn shame.
Yeah, Danny Trejo. This is his only appearance. He was nothing but just a simple cameo of actor. That was it. Like that kind of he didn't even show up as a support in the last episode. Nothing. The only thing that showed up that would relate to him was a rancor, and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Another wasted character out of the plenty that are in this show. Like this show is the biggest theme you'll see here is wasted potential. That's the biggest theme with this show.
Yep.
The biggest pattern. So yeah.
So later on, we go to Mos Espa to see Moksha's because he's the one who did everything, and Boba and Fennec go to his place, and his attendant says, "Oh, he's not here," and then he leaves off the back door, and they have to give chase to him. But before this happens, when they arrive in Mos Espa, you see the Boba with his new little guardians with him, the Spy Kids with their terribly awful looking designed motorcycles, which are the slowest looking motorcycles ever.
Oh, we'll get to that. Don't you worry. We'll get to how they work. But oh god, the design. Like the biggest thing that a lot of people have said about the mods, which are the Spy Kids, is that their design feels so incredibly off from everything that's around them. Like it basically looks like they just came out straight from another universe, or hell, even from another planet. Like it just makes no sense that they live in Tatooine. If they had been, I don't know, outlaws from Coruscant or whatever other like big popular planet, like that'd be understandable. But no, it seems that this show from start to finish, yeah, like they apparently this Spy Kids have been living in Tatooine for many years. Even the last episode of the show confirms that. So yeah, like they are so out of place. Like they don't feel at all that they belong in Tatooine or Star Wars forever for that. Like they belong something like Cyberpunk. Seriously.
I don't even think
Well,
they even
Blade
belong
Runner.
in Cyberpunk either, too. Because of how badly designed they look.
I guess you could say that. But yeah, they do belong in some other science fiction franchise, Blade Runners, Cyberpunk, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's that.
So now we have to talk about the big, dumb chase sequence.
Oh god.
So the attendant tries to flee with this slow-ass
Peter.
speeder. And hold on, let me do something. You want to mention what happened?
Okay, so the speeder chase. So the Twilight Majordomo is escaping with his speeder in the streets of Mos Espa, and the four Spy Kids with their scooters are literally going after him. And the chase is freaking short. It feels like an eternity, even though it's like 5 to 6 minutes, at least in runtime of the show. But it feels like an eternity because how slow it is and how not much is happening that makes it look interesting. And the Spy Kids, they managed to disable the speeder and they captured the Majordomo. I don't know what's the most oh god, the most face palming moment, at least for me, in that entire chase. Like the biggest facepalm moment for me was the very, very end when literally now the Spy Kids managed to catch on to the Majordomo and disable the speeder, and Boba Fett shows up riding his jetpack, and I was like, "What? You have a fucking jetpack. You have your fucking arsenal. You are fucking Boba Fett, and you can't even catch up to a measly speeder that is escaping. That wasn't even going that fast, and he has to deal with buildings and streets and shit in order to escape. Like you could have easily catched on to him and stopped your speeder yourself. Like." Why do you need these freaking Spy Kids to do it for you? And even if you wanted to test them for the Spy Kids to be able to prove their worth, I guess, in terms of them doing the job, at the very least, you should have showed up at the very last minute and taken the Mayordomo by yourself. Like if you thought episode 1 showed how much Boba Fett couldn't do shit, no, episode 3 just amplifies it times 2. Like, God, it makes Boba Fett not using his jetpack look even more stupid than it already was. And I hated it. So, what do you think, Django, of that?
Yeah, I mean, episode 3 was just a fucking mess. Just that sequence alone was just made it just dog shit because of how slow that chase sequence was, and it was just so poorly executed on every level. And you had like these terribly designed bikes trying to give chase and failing on every opportunity, and then of course Boba Fett just showing up in the end, and it's just like, what's it was just to show off these kids trying to do stuff.
Yep, this was literally Spy Kids. It was an entire chase just to showcase the Spy Kids. And fun fact, for those that have seen the Spy Kids movies, this is a straight up exact copy of Robert Rodriguez's idea for Spy Kids 3, having sci-fi teenagers writing futuristic sci-fi vehicles. Yeah, that's an idea from Spy Kids 3. It's in here, but in Star Wars, and less interesting than even in that movie. But the same idea and concept is here, and yep, it is so evident for those that are familiar with Robert Rodriguez's work. It's shameful, Spy Kids, shameful. So yeah, if you have an image or something, the Django, you can show it. But yeah, it's undeniably Spy Kids in Star Wars, undeniably.
Yeah.
So
this was the downfall of the whole series, to be honest.
I cannot really disagree. Yeah.
Yeah. And things just, I mean, the thing is, the quality of this episode is so terrible that the rest of the episodes definitely are better in that aspect. They're not as bad as this, but they still, the writing is just terrible. It's still bad, and it loses the focus of the entirety of Boba Fett, who's your main character. And you don't even care about it at all.
Yeah. Episode 3 was already making people start to no longer be interested in Book of Boba Fett. But episode 4, it was going in a good direction of sorts. Like it did in some aspects pretty much not redeem, but definitely put a better taste in everyone's mouths compared to what happened in episode 3. Like it was a step in the right direction. So, you want to go through what happened in episode 4, Django?
Yes. So this is the Gathering Storm. So it starts with Boba and his bacta tank, of course. And so Boba's on his bantha and goes to Jabba's palace, scopes out the area. And then this is when it connects also, like when he leaves from there. This is when it connects to the Mandalorian, where Mando fights with Fennec Shand.
Fennec.
Yeah. And Boba saves Fennec from almost dying, and takes her to a doctor. She gets fixed up. Outside, of course, there are Spy Kids, but saves her, and she owes a debt to Boba, and she helps him to go to Jabba's palace and get his ship back. And it was fine. Not a problem from there. He gets his ship back and mows down the swoop gang, which was pretty satisfying. I like that. Then things get really bad. So he goes to the Sarlacc pit, and the Sarlacc is not dead, but he goes super fucking close to it, thinking that it's not dead, and this thing is, this thing is dead, and I should be able to get my ship super fucking close to it just to inspect it, or find some other way to do it safely, without risking my fucking neck. But no, he puts his ship super fucking close to the Sarlacc pit, and then the jump scare, it's actually fucking alive. What a surprise! And
I'm surprised the Sarlacc literally has enough strength to actually try to gobble up an entire ship. That surprised me. Because you think the Sarlacc would have done something like that in, say, Return of the Jedi, if you remember, with the skiffs being on the on top of it and something. But I guess this show thought, oh yeah, the Sarlacc should be powerful enough to literally grapple the fucking slave one. Like that's something. So
Yeah.
I guess there's that. Anyway, so yeah, so they're wrestling the Sarlacc until Fennec finally like presses one button and releases a seismic charge. Not gonna lie, seismic charge. That's fucking that killing the Sarlacc with that's badass. I will admit that.
Yeah, but of course it's Fennec Shan saving Boba's ass again because he can't do it himself.
Yeah, that's another theme here. Boba Fett can't do shit himself. Wait, we already saw in episode 3, and here it's just like something that's prevalent in Book of Boba Fett is just Boba Fett cannot do things himself anymore. And we have absolutely no explanation for this. In fact, Mando season 2 only makes this worse because literally it takes place like what, few days? Even between the Mando season 2 and Book of Boba Fett, like there's no explanation for it. None.
No.
So yeah. So there's that. So yeah, they tried searching for the armor, they didn't get shit, and so then they, if I'm not mistaken, they just returned to where, well, they pretty much went to somewhere with Slave One and stuff, and then the Fed the tank, and the droid tells him that he officially is fully healed, which just means no more flashbacks.
Yep.
Yeah. So, yep. There's that. But before that, there was one flashback where pretty much Fed, took control of Jabba's palace. Basically, Mando season 2 post-credit scene. So there's that. But anyway, so yeah, Fed no longer needs the. He no longer needs to bag the thing. So they're just. So yeah, that's where flashbacks end, and then they decide to take a trip to Garza Whip's cantina, where Corsantan is. Let's just say he's having some fun with a few Trandoshans. He was nearly going to rip to shreds one of them, but Garza stops him, and while Corsantan doesn't rip him to shreds, he did manage to tear apart. I have not seen a Wookiee do that in live action at all, only Lego Star Wars, so that actually was pretty damn cool.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that was awesome. And then at the end of this episode, or the near end, then Fett and Shand are literally talking with the families of Mos Espa. Yep, the ones that are like in charge of Mos Espa, or at least several parts of it. The Aqualish, the Trandoshans, like all of them. And they're basically like because Fett and Shand are going to go to war with the Pike Syndicate. Well, they ask for the help of the families, but the families say no. So they at least say, okay, well, can you at least stay neutral? And the families were like, yeah, sure, we'll stay neutral.
That was so dumb because it's like you couldn't even get their loyalty. So you're like, oh, can you please stay neutral and not fight and stuff like that? And they're supposed to take your word for it. You're supposed to take their word for it, and not pay them or anything. Just like, okay, just it's so dumb, so fucking dumb. Because it comes to play in later on, and because Boba's a fucking idiot, didn't even see that coming.
And you want to know something interesting? It was right then and there that they were going to betray him, because guess what? One of them, the Trandoshan leader, he literally said that they make so much money through the sale of spice in their territory. So right there, that should have been a red flag for Boba Fett to think that, okay, they say they're neutral, but I should probably keep an eye on them. That didn't happen. Boba Fett literally allowed himself and his gang to pretty much be betrayed. Like Boba Fett, you rarely double cross, rarely, and come out of it alive, or at least be able to do it easily. Like rarely. Boba Fett, he's supposed to be like not a master tactician enough that to know that he should not trust anybody, but apparently this Boba does not have that same ruthlessness and cunningness from before. Uh, hmm. Thoughts on that, Django?
Yeah, this Boba is just dumb. It's just just dumb. Like he doesn't think of these things. He's not smart. He's not creative. Like, in the expanded universe, nothing. He is just an empty shell. He's just all all muscle, but he just can't fight. He just wants other people to fight for him. Um, he's become like a fat version of the Huts at this point. The epitome of a Hut, but much worse, a kinder Hut.
And
It's
not only
it's so
kinder
bizarre,
hot,
so
not only
bizarre.
kinder hot, but one that apparently he doesn't even have the ruthlessness that the Huts have. So not he doesn't even have any semblance of showcasing fear or anything like that because he wanted to rule respect, and the only thing he
See,
got at the
that's
end.
that's a problem too. It's like, yeah, I want to rule with respect and stuff, but where did this come into play? Like there was no, like it never came into play. Like how we came, like is it because the Tuscans or something else? Like it was never
It,
clearly, effectively shown that okay, from this point on, I'm going to be a nice guy or I'm going to be smart about my decisions. Like it never came into play. Like what caused this? What spurned this to cause him to be like this at all?
and it never happened. The only thing we got was that the Tuscans probably softened Boba Fett to the point that he didn't want it to be a bounty hunter. That's all we got. But the crime lord stuff, no fucking idea. Like, not even at the end of episode 7 do we even get it. Hell, in fact, episode 7 there's two quotes that pretty much showcase how worthless being a crime lord was, which we'll get to later on. Which I know those piss you off, the Django. So we'll get to it later on. But yeah, like we never got a true explanation why he wanted to become a crime lord. None. So yeah, there's that. And at the end, episode 4, Boba and Fennec are discussing in the balcony how much the Pike Syndicate is gonna come here and they're gonna be ready to cause trouble. And they say we must get to war. And well, and then Sean says that they need more muscle, and Fred is like, yeah, we need to get some muscle. And Sean says, credits can buy muscle, you know where to look. And from there, we get a small cue to a certain character, which we'll talk to in the next episode.
So
So yeah, episode 4.
okay, so this was an mediocre episode. It was a filler episode. It was
Mm.
filler for
Hmm.
things to set up for the future, the fight, the big fight that's gonna happen at the very end. It's not gonna even take 2 episodes. It's gonna take 1 episode. And the thing is with this too, it's like coming like going off of the next episode, which features the Mandalorian, of course. Um, they can't even also show like characters like in the original trilogy or prequels, like in one of the most famous scenes from Star Wars with Boba Fett is when you know him and the bounty hunters are there in that iconic sequence, and
Hmm.
Darth Vader's like, okay, go out and get the rebel. I think was it the rebels or the
No, no. Bader wanted the bounty hunters to track down the Millennium Falcon and to pretty much bring the crew alive. No disintegrations, which is what he
yeah,
specifically was pointing at Boba Fett.
yeah, and yeah, because he knows Boba Fett will do that. But you can't even have any of those characters like Zuckuss or um, Bosk in some way to even be in this
Yeah.
show. Like that would have been cool because it's like in the EU they did it so many times with like these iconic characters. They came into play like every single character. I mean that shows how clearly effective the EU is and knows how to write these characters. Like as minor of a character as someone is featured in the original trilogy or prequels, they will have an amazing backstory behind those characters, and that's awesome.
Hey, Hey, yeah, you're right. Absolutely none of the bounty hunters we saw there show up. Now I
Dengar,
don't know
I
if
mean,
they're
come on.
now I don't know if they're dead. Oh wait, no, they're not. They're not dead. Apparently they. Oh, of course they're not dead because in Return of the Jedi we saw Dengar and Bosk were there. Dead. They actually were there. So those definitely are still alive. But for some reason they just like they have not shown. Bosk has not shown up post Return of the Jedi, and Dengar. It's possible that it's also the same case. At least in Disney Star Wars. Let me check quickly because it seems. Oh, he did show up in the Aftermath trilogy, which was retconned by Mando season 2. So yeah, that goes. So yeah, like bounty hunters could have shown up, but no, we do get one bounty hunter, which we'll get to later, and yeah, it definitely was a good bounty hunter to use, but it definitely would have been cooler that we have seen more, maybe one more aside from the one we got in episode 6 and 7. Like we would have had Hell Bosk, Trandoshan. Hey, he could have been part of the Trandoshan family in Mos Espa, with his kind. Like he probably would be like, why do you guys want to side with Fett? No, we should definitely wreck him. We should destroy him. I want to put my claws in Fett. Something like that. But no, we don't get that at all. Like, and you'd think the Pike Syndicate would have hired somebody like Bosk, one of Boba Fett's biggest rivals, but nope. Well, they did hire one rival, but more, not just one, but like 2 or 3 or something. Maybe their prices were too high for bounty hunters. I don't know. But then again, this is the Pike Syndicate. They can pay with spice trades, so I don't know. It's just from the writing perspective, this show definitely had so much missed potential and wasted potential too. So. Yeah, and speaking of missed potential and the writing, okay, shall we get to episode 5?
Yeah, episode 5, Return of the Mandalorian. So of course it says it in the name that Mando is appearing, and this is all Mando in this episode. Not a single moment is dedicated to Boba Fett. Not a single one.
No, he doesn't even show up. Oh boy, yeah. This is definitely where you can tell the writers just gave up on. They gave up on Book of Boba Fett, or that's the strong feeling you get from it.
But like,
So,
yet like people were raving about this episode. Like, oh my god, this is what we want. We want Mando and all. Like, forget Boba Fett. This is the
and
real episode that really is like the best one and everything.
to be honest, I can't really complain about them saying that because this and episode 6, they were by themselves are really good. The fact is they don't belong in Book of Boba Fett. But why are people raving about these episodes? Well, to put it simply, because Book of Boba Fett itself, it's just not really that interesting compared to the Mandalorian TV show. It's just not. And when you actually put actual Mandalorian episodes, that people are like, yeah, this is so much better. We want to see more. Like these 2 episodes, 5 and 6, they pretty much showcase that, yeah, Book of Boba Fett by that point, it just failed. If your audience didn't give a shit whatsoever about Boba Fett, especially because of what happened in episodes 3 and 4, yeah, but it's simply, the show was already a failure, and nothing that episode 7 would have done would have redeemed it. So it was pretty clear that the show after episode 4 is just completely derailed into something else. Mando season 3 basically. And well, it just made it in which nobody gave a shit about Boba Fett anymore or Fennec Shand or whatever happened on Tatooine. They didn't care. They just wanted to just move on from it at this point. So yeah, I can't really blame them. This is the result of making 4 episodes that were not good enough to make Boba Fett interesting, and yeah, can't really disagree with them there. So yeah, shall we get into the what happens in episode 5 to Django, or you think it's not worth it because it's not Book of Boba Fett?
Yeah, I mean exactly. I mean like this is because this is not Book of Boba Fett. This is actually Mandalorian episode 0,
Yes,
freaking season
yes,
3.
yes.
And then the next episode after this is going to be 0.5. It's ridiculous. So I'm not really going to divulge into this episode. Just going to keep it short. This is all about Mando. and what happens after Mandalorian season 2. He goes into gets a bounty, and then he gets a new ship. He gets his appearance with the other Mandalorians with the Darksaber, and we learn more lore about the Mandalorians. And he gets a new ship, and then he goes on to do some more stuff for the next episode where he'll actually see Grogu. So with that part, that's when I had a real problem with, because the episode was probably fine. It was good. But the end where it's like with Grogu and stuff, revisiting that, and I called it. I knew this was going to be problematic because everything that comes into play for Mandalorian season 2 with that heartfelt goodbye between Mando and Grogu is all but thrown away in the garbage. They didn't live up to that legacy, and now we are going to have the Mando and Grogu adventures yet again for Mandalorian season 3. This is no longer going to be Mandalorian TV show. Mando and Grogu show.
Yeah, and for those saying, wait, if there even is people saying that, oh, Luke was not putting a choice or anything, or we had to wait. Now, episode 7 pretty much showcases Grogu chose the Beskar armor, went with Din Djarin at the end. So it was a decision. It was a choice all along. So yeah, Mando season 3 is gonna have Din Djarin and Grogu again, which it makes you wonder what the hell was the point of the ending of season 2. Hell, actually, not just the end. The entire season 2 was about Din Djarin finding the Jedi so that he would give Grogu to the Jedi, because the Jedi were basically Grogu's kind. He's not his species, but definitely where Grogu belongs to. Like, that was the whole point of that season, of that entire season, and thanks to what we see here in Book of Boba Fett, or Mando season 3, if you want to be specific, this makes you wonder, what was the point of that whole season? Like at least for the main goal, what was the point? You might as well just have not even bothered having Dean searching for the Jedi. Hell, we would have not even. He didn't even need to put Grogu in that freaking plan, so he can send the distress signal to the Jedi. Because, well, guess what? He's not gonna go with the Jedi at the end. He's gonna go back to Din Djarin. Did you see what I'm saying, Django? That whole season's the entire season 2 is just rendered mute, because what happened in Book of Boba Fett is just mute. It's more than just the ending. The whole season is just who cares what happens in the main with Din Djarin and Grogu in there, because supposedly they're going to find the Jedi so that Grogu can be with them, but that goes out the window now. So at this point, I might as well just stick with just watching season 1, and that's it.
Yeah. So I don't really want to get into episode 6. We've already divulged enough about it. Or episode 5. But episode 6, CJ, you summed it up pretty good. So.
Yeah, so if you want more details, State of Star Wars episodes 5, 6. The Django is there with me on those. So don't worry. We do have plenty to talk about. We did have plenty to talk about. So yeah. So do you want to get to episode 7?
Just really quickly with episode 6, the really important bits is that Cad Bane shows up and fights the Marshal. Marshal gets beaten pretty quickly, and that's it. That's the only major bit from there.
Yeah, indeed, and that's the bounty hunter that we were pretty much hinting that the Pike Syndicate show up. Now, Cad Bane, is he a bad choice? No, he's actually a good choice for Boba Fett to face off, because not only do they have a rivalry together because of the Clone Wars 2008, but in Disney Star Wars, it's confirmed that Cad Bane was trained by Django Fett. So both Boba Fett and Cad Bane were trained by the same man. So this definitely means that Cad Bane and Boba Fett, they'll have plenty of not only history, but more than enough motivation and more than enough of a rivalry of sorts that this definitely means that had Book of Boba Fett had better writing, it could have put Cad Bane at the beginning, and he would have been like a recurring villain or rival source for Boba Fett in the entirety of the show. So that way, it would not seem that he shows up at the very fucking last minute, and then, well, we'll get to what happens in episode 7. But yeah, Cad Bane has plenty of history and plenty of motivation to be one of the biggest rivals for Boba Fett, especially because both they had the same mentor, Django Fett. So the fact that Cad Bane was so underutilized in Book of Boba Fett is just so fucking like it's a big like. I don't like it, and I've seen online that plenty of people do not like the underutilization of Cad Bane. Like, he needs to be much more, at the very least, shown up in more episodes than just 2 or 1.5 to be specific. So he should have been, hell, I'd say he should have shown up since episode 3, if you ask me, or 4. I don't know, at least there. And of course, 5 and 6 should have been about Book of Boba Fett and not Mandalorian, but there goes that. So, yeah, like Cad Bane, wasted potential again. So, yeah, and we'll get to episode 7 why he was just wasted. So, but yeah, the Django, you got anything to say in episode 6?
No, that's about it.
Okay, so episode 6. Episode 7. So this is the big battle that's been hyping up since episode 3. So, the Django, do you want to go with it?
Yeah, so yeah, the rest of it has been filler up until episode 3, really. I knew it would take forever for it to do that, just to set up for, future Star Wars content, for future Star Wars TV shows and stuff like that, instead of focusing on fucking Boba Fett. This really should have been 5 episodes. Like, that's it. Like...
Or the last 3 episodes should have just been tied to Mando season 3, to be honest.
Yeah. Have something small. Oh, Tevye says hi. Hey, Tevye.
Oh, okay. Hello.
All right, so we're discussing the last episode. We've already discussed the previous 6 episodes. So we're going to go into episode 7. And this is supposed to be filled with nonstop action. Supposed to be great. And, yeah, so let's get into it. So, at Mos Espa, Boba and Fennec go to the blown-up cantina, and they try to come up with a plan. And Mando's there, of course, too. And, let's see. Cad Bane reports to Makshi's and the Pike Syndicate. And the Pike leader reveals, literally at the last episode, that they destroyed the Tuskens, and they did everything. And left evidence it was the Swoop Gang. So I called that shit. So I knew that was coming.
Yep.
But then an X-Wing appears, and Grogu appears. At first I thought it was Luke, but it was Grogu. And I thought they wouldn't reveal that thing in the end for episode 6 with that cliffhanger with, like, are you going to choose the armor or the lightsaber? It was so obvious. He was going to choose the armor. For all he did, he chucked the lightsaber down the toilet at this point with this decision. But this is just as a marketing ploy for, because everybody loves Grogu, everybody loves Baby Yoda, just for more for Grogu in the Mandalorian TV show. That's it. Yeah. Well, we'll get into that, Tevye. So what happens after that?
So what happens after they were discussing the Pike Syndicate, like what they're going to do and everything, and then of course the X-Wing shows up. Then basically Fett and Fennec Shand Djarin, they're just pretty much setting their plan on what to do in order to deal with the Pike Syndicate, and so of course, the three of them believe that the truce that Fate had negotiated with the Mos Espa families will remain, but we'll get to later on. So, and meanwhile, meanwhile, the two Gamorreans are set somewhere, basically supervising one of the territories, Mos Espa, or Santan is in the other one, and the spy kids are in the workers' district and the Aqualish quarter. So they're pretty much covering as much as possible. And then, well, Cat Bane shows up with some pikes, and Boba goes out and talks with Cat Bane a little bit, and so they get some talks. Cat Bane even is trying to goad Boba Fett into a duel by telling him, "Oh, it's the Pikes who killed the Tuskens." So, and Boas wants to take him out, but Fennec says, "No, don't do it. Too emotional. Not ready." And Fett's like, "Okay, I won't do it." And Cat Bane's like, "You're getting soft, Fett," which he is. And then they go back. Then they talk in terms of what next to do. And then what happens to Django?
So before we get to that, Tevye has two questions. Okay, so he says that why couldn't Grogu choose both in the end of episode 6? I mean, that's a good question, but I mean, he wasn't given a choice. He had to choose. Luke said, "Oh, you can only do one."
Yeah, so the main reason why he couldn't choose both, we did discuss this in the episode 6 podcast, but we can read it here. So the reason why he didn't choose both is because Luke put two choices instead of being Luke Skywalker and actually telling Grogu that he could keep the Beskar armor as not only a memento of the Indian, but also for protection, while at the same time training to be a Jedi. Instead, it's like, no, choose the Beskar armor or the lightsaber. If you choose the Beskar armor, you go back to Mando, but you forgo the ways of the Jedi because attachment, apparently it's bad. Because as you know, the Jedi from the prequels are saying, oh, the attachment leads to the dark side, which no, not true. Doesn't always do that. And the lightsaber, choose a lightsaber, you'll be my first student and you'll train the ways of the Jedi. This is basically just Luke Skywalker putting the seeds of becoming Jake Alien Milker, to put it simply. It's just the seeds of him going to become the failure that he's in The Last Jedi. That's the problem.
It's like, attachment is important in many ways too. It's like you also had that key moment where Darth Vader, he sees his son in pain against Emperor Palpatine, and because of that attachment, he sees the light in him and he saved his kid's life in the end. So attachment, and then in the future, of course, with Luke Skywalker, he's all about attachment. He sees the good in it. And just to say, oh, I'm just going to go back to the Jedi ways. I mean, that's also caused the bad things to happen with the Jedi.
Prequels.
Yeah, so it's necessary to break the rules from time to time. So it's just, it's a dumb thing that.
In fact, break rules? Luke was making his Jedi Order from scratch. He could have literally just straight up said, this policy from the Jedi Order doesn't work. I'm going to put my own. Like, he could have taken what worked and what didn't work. And given that he should already know what happened in the prequel, especially with his own father, he should know why his father fell to the dark side, because the Jedi were unable to help him pretty much find a way to cope with the fact that he could lose Padme or a way to save her. And because the Jedi don't believe in attachments, and they prefer that they have no attachments, nobody no bonds or anything like that, at least I guess romantic bonds or even family bonds. Is like, no, we're not going to help you. And what happened with Darth Vader? He turned to Palpatine for assistance on that. So Luke should know this, but for some reason he doesn't know it until it's way too late, which I don't know how that's possible. He should already know by now, but I don't know it. And yes, in the EU, Luke didn't know about what truly happened in in the old Jedi Order and the prequels until much later, Darkness Trilogy. But that's because the real life situation was the prequels were yet to come out, so that's why they were unable to know the full details what happened in the prequels. So there's that. But even then, Luke still felt like attachments were important to his Jedi Order because of what he lived through in the original trilogy. So even without knowing what happened in the prequels, he still valued attachments as something more than just some way to go to the dark side. No, it's something that he could actually use to stay in the light side. So, because family was very important to him. But here in Disney Star Wars, like, what's the excuse for Luke not knowing what happened in the prequels? There's no real life excuse here where the prequels were not finished, because the prequels are more than finished by this point. There's no excuse for that. And Luke is already making the mistakes of thinking that attachment leads to the dark side way early in his career. It's not even later on. Like, he hasn't even had his Jedi Order. He's already making the same mistakes. Like, what happened?
Yeah.
Do you know, Django?
Yeah, I don't know, but Tivia has two other things. I'll touch base on the how do you feel about Boba Fett leaving the crime stuff. We'll mention it at the end.
Oh
And
yeah, we'll talk about that at the end.
yeah,
Yeah.
and do you believe this is connecting to sequel trilogy? Because I really don't. This is Mandalorian connects to sequel trilogy, or see Luke Skywalker turn into the jaded person who lost everything. I think they're trying to
Okay.
get like. Here's my opinion, real quick. It's like I feel like they're because of the success of the TV shows and how much of a failure the movies were, they're trying to just get away from the movies and not talk about the movies at all and stick to TV shows and do this TV show universe. And that's what they're setting up with these the episodes 6 and 5 and 7 as well. Um,
Mm.
that's where it's all connecting into this big universe, and that's where they're trying to go. They're not doing the sequel trilogy or anything like that. They want to ask everyone to forget about it at this point, because the real success is the TV shows at this point.
That is true. I don't deny that. However, if you do notice the ins and outs of continuity in the TV shows, you'll see that unfortunately, yes, because the sequel trilogy is the main movies and the main movies in the Disney Star Wars canon, they are the highest form, with TV shows being second place. Unfortunately, they have to follow through with what the movies establish, even if it's the mess that is the sequel trilogy. So unfortunately, yes, Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett, they have to connect in some way to sequel trilogy, and the way they're doing it is by having Luke Skywalker already putting the seeds as to why he's going to become Jake Ellen Milker later on. Like, the seeds are already they're planted. Book of Boba Fett, you're seeing the beginning of it. There's still no explanation as to why he's going this route, but the seeds are there. So unfortunately, yes, this is just what we see of Luke in Book of Boba Fett is just the beginning of his downfall as a failure, basically.
Yeah, yeah.
So
And then another thing is, can't Luke meet up with his future wife Mara Jade? That only applies for the EU. That's not Disney canon at all. They're
we
doing
haven't
their own
even.
thing. Yeah.
Mara Jade is not even canon as far as I know. At least she has no canon version.
Yeah, so it's strictly a EU, strictly EU. That's not
Strictly
Disney
EU.
canon at all. But anyway, let's go on to this episode a little bit more. So everyone gets attacked by the people, the family members, the Aqualish, Trandoshans, all those other people. And yeah, so their plan doesn't work at all. The spy kids get ambushed. Fennec saves them. Boba and Mando are doing their own thing, and from the start they looked like they were holding their own. It looked pretty cool, but then they were just getting hammered, and then slowly but surely other people came and helped them out and stuff like that, and they were able to win back against the Pike Syndicate. However, there was two massive droids that came with the shields and stuff like that, and they were like just destroying everything, and they couldn't do anything about them until Boba managed to bring a Rancor into the mix, and then things got interesting. But it played out like a kaiju fight with that, and I personally I've seen that played out so much that it just kind of got
Old.
Yeah, old to me. So I didn't think it was really original or unique. It was just pretty. Everybody's done that at this point. So
Speaking of original unique, those droids are also not unique. They actually first came from the expanding universe, in particular the Essential Guide to Droids.
yeah, I have to look at
So
that.
yeah, so they are pretty much from the expanded universe, everything from design to even having those lasers and the shield, like all of it are straight up lifted from the expanded universe. They're the exact same droids.
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty cool.
Hmm.
Um,
So the indeed.
anyway,
So yeah,
so
the Scorpionic droids, they were pretty tough. Rancor comes in, manages to take them down, and then, well, Boba Fett is now killing some pikes in this Rancor, and then what happens to Django?
Cad Bane appears, and
The last
we
minute.
have this face off, and Cad Bane is just saying shit to Boba, and you know, I honestly didn't have a problem with the end sequence with Boba killing Cad Bane, but what played out with him, Cad Bane just being so fast and Boba not even having a chance at all. And I thought this was the toughest, the biggest bounty hunter out there, but he didn't stand a chance in the beginning because I guess this thing about Beskar is just like you could block anything, um, and it's all about the armor. And it's not like being fast. It's like the armor means more. So you can be as slow as you want as long as you have the armor, and then you can just kill your opponent from there, which is dumb and doesn't make any sense. But yeah,
Uh, the real problem with and of course at the end Boba Fett kills Cat Bane. He stabs the gaffi stick inside Cat Bane's
hmm
heart. So
I mean he
yeah,
was a
Cat Bane's
bastard, so
dead.
he deserved it. So for me, it was satisfying to
I,
see.
I don't disagree with his death. The problem is Cat Bane was so underutilized in this show that the death just felt quick and empty at times because Cat Bane with how popular he is in TCW and Rebels and Bad Batch and the history he has with Boba Fett, even going as far as being mentored by Django Fett, as I mentioned before. Like there should have been more, and him dying here, that's not a problem. The problem is it was so underutilized. Cad Bane should have appeared much earlier in the show. He should have been a presence in the show. But because of him appearing at the last minute, hell, he wasn't even part of the pikes on the big pike battle in episode 7. He showed up the last minute when the two droids were already finished. Like, not even that. Like, he literally was so underutilized that it's insulting for Cat Bane fans. Hell, even Boba Fett fans of Disney Star Wars, because like again, Cat Bane is supposed to be like one of the biggest rivals of Boba Fett, at least in this timeline. So this is just yeah, underutilized, not good, and it sucks. So yeah, that's wasted potential. Again, oh god, so many times. How many times have I said that? Like 6 times at Django?
Plenty.
Yep. So there's that. And then the Rancor goes out of control. They try to stop him, unable to until Grogu pretty much uses the Force to put him to sleep. So there's that. So
Yeah,
yeah, that
what
happened.
happened to Boba too? Was he just like, oh, I'm just gonna soak in that kill with Cad Bane and do nothing? Like, what was he doing? Like, did
I don't
you
know.
like what were you? Come on, man, you gotta tame your Rancor.
Yeah, it looking retrospective to episode 7, it felt more like an episode of Din Djarin than Boba Fett. Now I think about it, because think about it, Din Djarin has almost as much screen time as Boba Fett in this episode, probably a bit more. And Grogu as well. So it just goes to show that this episode and 5 and 6, they just straight up belonged in season 3. Honestly, they just belong in Mandalorian season 3. They should not have been here in this show.
Yeah, and it's like
So
even the moment you know people have been waiting for Mando and Grogu to appear and to rejoin with one another. That was super unimpactful at all. It was just like, oh my God, there you are, man. What are you doing here? Okay, good to see you. All right. And
uh,
like it wasn't like a powerful moment like these people have made it out to be at all. It just like it just happened, and I get it. There's like this crazy action, that's crazy sequences that are happening, but come on, you can't even give them that. Come on.
Hell, not even. It's not only that. Like, didn't Join and Grogu didn't like they couldn't even after the battle, like when it ended, they couldn't like have a bit of discussion, a bit of banter, like after it finished. Like not even that. It literally until they were already in the ship, but even then, that didn't feel enough.
Yeah.
Like, so there's that. Yeah. Oh, and what happens? What happens after the battle ended? The Django. What do we see?
Well, firstly, and this is the last sequence. I just want to mention this really quickly: is Grogu and Mando leave together, and
Oh no, the Django. That's the ending.
yeah,
No, what I'm
no, but
talking about
I know I
is
wanted to mention it real quick because I just wanted to
Mhm.
gloss over it because that's
That's
Mando
it.
and Grogu just leave in the very end and on their ship, and yeah, that's it for them.
Hmm.
However, now we get to the next moment. So we go to Moss Isley with the Pike leader and his family, who betrayed Boba. They're just waiting there, and they're starting to get killed off in this little hut. And then the Pike leader gets killed, and then you think it's Boba doing all these killings, wanting to savor it all in.
Hmm.
But no,
Hmm.
it's fucking Fennec Shan who's doing all the killings. And it was such the probably the most unsatisfying scene I've ever seen. Like not of all time, but it was so unsatisfying. Like I wanted to see these people get killed really badly and in
Like
horrific
Boba.
ways. But you don't even really get to savor it in as it happens so quickly and you don't even see the person doing it. And not even Boba doing it. It's fucking Fennec Shan doing it. They couldn't even take
Hmm.
any time whatsoever to do it. Fucking fail.
Hmm. Yeah, and you even see like a whipcord of swords strangling Mok Shaiz. It literally makes you think it's Boba Fett. No, it's Fennec Shand. Like it, yeah, it was so unsatisfying how that happened. Literally, it should have been Boba Fett, and I don't care how it should have been Boba Fett. Seriously, it should not have been Fennec Shand. Like in any way, it should have been Boba, but that happened, and that was the final nail in the coffin for me on how much Boba Fett is so useless to do things himself, like so useless, and yeah, that show. So
Yeah.
yeah, and the final scene, they're just Boba and Fennec are like talking to Mos Espa, and some people are like bowing to Boba, showing respect, and then what do they say at the end, Django?
Oh god, this was so dumb. They basically Boba says, "I'm not really cut out to this. I don't think I should be doing this anymore." And yeah, so he doesn't feel confident in being a crime boss anymore, and I guess he wants to leave it behind. So what the fuck was the point of this TV show then? I'm
Yeah,
just
so the action.
baffled they actually put that in there.
Okay, so how the quote actually went was we are not fit for this. And then Fennec is like, if not us, then who? And then they had a ban. So basically Boba was like him and Fennec were not fit to be crime lords. Like
No, Fennec is a
so
crime lord. You are not. You fucking suck at this.
uh yeah, so but yeah, this only shows how much. Yeah, him being crime lord, bad idea from the start. Should have not even happened. And at the end, it paid off. It did not pay off whatsoever.
Mm-mm.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, bad. So it would have
Overall,
been fine.
oh
Hmm.
my god, this show is so embarrassing, especially for Boba Fett fans, because like we have high
Hmm.
expectations. Anything that's affiliated with Boba Fett, and if you don't live up to it, even close, it's a fucking fail. Like it doesn't come close. Like if it doesn't even come close to our slight expectations of it, then it fails. And we can't even get like a really good, um, you know, even with Tamora Morrison behind it. I love Tamora Morrison. He was a great choice. but even he can't save it. Can't save the show. And it's frankly embarrassing, very embarrassing, because you have the templates in so much Boba Fett material out there. Enemy of the Empire, a bunch of Star Wars comics, um, stories,
There's
Django Fett open seasons. You have so much out there that you can't even have a capable writer to come out and make a really creative and interesting backstory into Boba Fett. Well, not so much backstory, but present day situations with Boba Fett. Not at all. I mean, this
none.
for all the love and creativity that Hollywood puts out, they did not put any love for Boba Fett in this TV show at all.
Mm-mm. No, and at times it kind of shows, especially when you see the quality of several of the episodes, like episode 3.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, and Tevia asks any opinion on the Wookiee character being on the show. I liked him,
Oh,
but
he was cool.
the problem is like I wish he wasn't like hurt in the end of the episode of the
Episode 7.
episode 7, and I wish he like did so much more because it's like I wanted him to be just like the true like standout for that episode and just beat the shit out of everyone. But that didn't really happen,
No,
unfortunately.
it didn't happen. It didn't happen. The biggest problem with the show is how much it completely sidetracked entirely away from Boba Fett and his gang with episodes 5 and 6. And 7, it seemed that it kinda was, but also kind of not. Because it's kind of like a mixture of Book of Boba Fett and Mando season 3, the last episode. So that's but 5 and 6 were totally Mandalorian season 3 or season 2.5, you want to call it that too.
Yeah,
So
yeah, exactly.
mhm. So there is that. So yeah, this show was a failure, and hope to God it doesn't happen again with more Disney Plus shows. So God, imagine if it happens with freaking Kenobi or Acolyte or one of those. Imagine.
I'm actually really interested in how they approach with the next, like with Kenobi for sure. Um, I'm not sure how they're gonna nail that show, and then also with Acolyte too. The thing is with Acolyte, that's actually the most interesting concept of the TV series out there because it's like it's focused on the Sith now, and I thought that is a really interesting perspective because like we don't really have that out there, and I think if you know the TV shows explored that, that could be interesting. I mean, we'll see how it goes, but that is an interesting premise. And with
Mm-hmm.
Kenobi too. I mean, like the problem I have with Kenobi is that I mean, they're having a different crew. So John Favreau is not a part of this. It's going to be a different crew. So that's really a good thing. However, the writer is actually affiliated with some pretty bad stuff, and he's a pretty bad writer. So that's not a good sign for the TV series. Having a good director is one thing, but having a bad writer can destroy a TV show. So, I mean, the thing is with Book of Boba Fett, I mean, even though it was written by John Favreau, it still had some bad directors like Robert Rodriguez behind it, and that also didn't work out as well. So it could work either way. But I think the writing is key as well, and
Mm-hmm.
that could end up. I don't know. We'll see how that goes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it was indeed a mess of the show, and yeah. Now, we definitely know what happened behind the scenes, but of course I'm not going to discuss it here because that will be an extra like 10-20 minutes on what happened behind the scenes. So instead, when the video comes out, the Django's going to edit the description in this live stream. He's going to put a link to it for State of Star Wars Episode 7 because that's where we actually get in depth on what happened with the Book of Boba Fett behind the scenes. So to pretty much explain why the show became such a disappointment and a failure that it ended up being. So we do have the answer for it. So
Yeah.
there's that.
So if you want to see more upon that, like what happened, like the process behind it, and why it was such a disaster. Well, CJ says most of it, but yeah, that's what we explore in the next episode. So if you please be sure to look out for that and watch that for sure.
Mhm. Indeed. So yeah, got anything else to say to Django?
Um, just the show was a disaster. If you want to see my rating for what I gave it, uh, check out my non-spoiler review. Pretty short, but it just was not good. And I'll read Tevia's comments real quick. Any
Is
opinion
that?
on Old Republic new cinematic trailer? Okay, we'll mention that a little bit later, Tevia.
Mm.
Go ahead, CJ.
Oh, I was gonna say that he was asking if the Wookiee character was interested in Marvel Star Wars. Yes, he was. He originated from Disney Star Wars comics.
Yeah, yeah. And then
Mm-hmm.
later on in the show, which I thought was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, indeed. So yeah. Anything else?
No, just we'll see how these other TV shows go. I'm starting to feel the fatigue with these TV shows personally. I know
Mm.
Mandalorian season 1 was good, season 2 was good as well, but starting to see some problems, some flaws there, and then Book of Boba Fett was shit to me. We'll see how Kenobi is, and you also have I think no Andor as well. I don't care for Andor. Um,
So the shows that are coming out are Star Wars Andor, Obi-Wan, Ahsoka, Rangers of the New Republic, The Acolyte, Lando, and
Rangers
the
of the New
Droid
Republic. I
Story.
don't think it's not coming out this year. It's probably next year. But I know
Okay, and
Mandalorian season 3 is coming out at the end of this year, or maybe even the next year.
yeah, yeah, because originally it was gonna come out in 2021, but it was delayed to this year.
Yeah, yeah,
So there's that. And Acolyte, we'll see how it goes. The Obi-Wan Kenobi comes out this May, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah.
Oh
Mm-hmm.
boy, it better not. Oh god, it. If that show's bad, the Django, do you think by that point you're gonna be like, I'm done with Disney Plus Star Wars shows?
Yeah, I'll be pretty pissed to be honest, because it's like that's such an iconic character, Evan McGregor as Kenobi, and if you fuck him up in this TV series, and Hayden Christensen is also going to be in it, and if you fuck up
Hmm.
that, then I'm gonna be just trying to take a like I'm gonna be like I'm not gonna be officially over. We'll see how Mandalorian season 3 is, but if that ends up also being like mediocre to okay, or even good at this point, I'm probably gonna be done, personally. Like I'm just sick of all these Star Wars TV shows, and I think we all need a break because we're starting to feel the fatigue, and that is not just me, but I think other people are feeling it too.
As far as I've seen, people definitely did not like Book of Boba Fett, but I have not seen yet somebody say that they're like getting fatigued for the Star Wars TV shows. They are definitely skeptical on how other shows are going to come out after seeing this one. But in terms of fatigueness, no, I haven't seen most people say that they're getting fatigued for Disney Plus shows.
Mhm.
So no, I can't really say that they are because no, I haven't seen much. So
Yeah.
mhm.
Um,
Definitely
I,
skepticism,
yeah,
but
yeah,
not
yeah,
fatigue.
for sure. And I'm also feeling a fatigue for the Marvel TV shows as well. I know they've been doing some interesting stuff with that, and there's actually been one great one. It's actually an animated TV series called What If, which is great,
Ah, yeah.
fantastic. I hope there's a Star Wars version of that with the creators behind the Marvel ones to do that. That would be fucking amazing. But you know, maybe if they do another Star Wars Visions like season 2, I'd be interested because you have like these different talented, uh, animators and uh, artists creating this new type of media and these new stories. And Visions, while it wasn't perfect, and it was no Animatrix by any means, it was still a really interesting concept, and I want to see more of that by handled by new people, new studios, than what they're doing right now.
hmm I will say this, I have not seen anything Marvel Cinematic Universe related after Avengers Endgame. I ended with Endgame, so that's why I
Cool,
cannot say I feel
that's
fatigued
fine.
because literally I finished with Endgame. I had no interest whatsoever seeing anything post that movie. Hell, I didn't even see the second Spider-Man movie. I literally, Endgame
Really,
was the last. I'm done. Yeah, I literally finished. Endgame was
you got
the end for me.
you got to see the new Spider-Man movie for sure.
Oh,
It's
let me
so
guess, the
good.
one that has the three Spider-Man?
Yep. Yeah, you got to see
I
that. That is great.
Yeah, I've been thinking about it, but unfortunately, it seems that I have to watch the previous one, the one with Mysterio,
Oh,
and
you
yeah.
haven't seen that one?
No,
What the
like I
heck?
said, I literally ended with Endgame.
But
I don't want to see anything else
oh my
until
god.
Fantastic Four and the X-Men arrive to the MCU. That's what I'm like. Yeah, I'll be waiting until those show up.
Yeah.
So, mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
I just I just hope they can create some more interesting stuff. Well, here's the comparison I have with Marvel and Star Wars to how DC is doing and Warner Brothers.
mm-hmm.
So what they're doing is you have a really obscure project like Peacemaker, for example, or there was like this. Oh man, I'm blanking on it. Uh, well, DC's doing some other TV shows as well, really obscure stuff, and they had
Mm-hmm.
one with Peacemaker, and I really loved it. I loved that TV show, directed and written by James Gunn, and it was fantastic. And I want and DC is going for a more violent and different route. And I like that. I think that's more of an interesting concept. And I feel like what they're doing with Star Wars and Marvel, with the TV show stuff, I mean, is more of the safe route. And they don't want to like go, go balls out, go crazy and out there, but at all. They want to make it safe. And I really don't want that. Even with Star Wars too. You had some like really violent stuff with Star Wars at times, with like
Mandalorian.
well, no, I'm saying like super violent, like in
Oh,
like Death Troopers, for instance.
oh
Um,
yeah,
but they'll never do that with Star Wars. They'll never put it super violent or super vulgar or anything like that because it probably doesn't fit. But I still think like the violent bit, like with like zombies or something, that could fit. Um,
yeah.
but they don't
If on.
they don't want to do that. They do not want to do that.
If only that idea we had years ago, the Django of the Dead Space makers making that Star Wars horror game, like using Death
Yeah,
Troopers.
that would be
Uh,
amazing.
but instead, we're getting like three other Star Wars games from EA, and neither of them is a horror game. So, yeah, ain't happening.
Yeah, I'm interested with Jedi Fallen Order too, and I don't remember the other two projects, but Jedi Fallen Order 2 for sure. That's like, and Ubisoft is also going to be a part of doing some Star Wars stuff, and I
hmm
don't know what they're going to. I have no idea.
They haven't released anything, and also the guys that made Detroit Become Human are also making their own Star Wars game.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I have my own opinion on those guys. I won't divulge into
Yeah.
that, but getting back into this, I just want Star Wars or and Marvel too, to be frank. To I mean, I'm excited for the movies for sure. Doctor Strange. I mean, that seems really interesting.
The multiverse.
Yeah, the multiverse looks really awesome because there's also a connection between What If, one episode in What If, to
Hmm.
to this. So I think
Well,
that's
that's
super
interesting.
fucking cool and super interesting. So
Okay.
I recommend you watch What If in order to get the um, understand Doctor Strange, the multiverse one movie that's coming out soon. Great TV show.
Interesting.
So,
Interesting, interesting.
I like to see that type of connection, that obscure connection that happens. And I think Marvel is in a better state than Star Wars, and I feel like Star Wars is starting to just hurt itself for me and not understand itself. It's just becoming too much. Like it's almost to the level of how much hype the movies were, and just the non-stop media attention that it was getting, despite it being kind of mediocre in the end. And I feel like that's what's going to happen to the TV shows. But who knows?
Hmm. Yeah, who knows? And who knows who this? Yeah. Now, now we'll see how it goes. The upcoming Star Wars show is Kenobi, right?
Yep.
That's the earliest. Okay, we'll see how that goes. Let's hope it is good. So yeah, but until that happens, so far we don't have really anything else to say, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we can't really say too much about that, and we'll see. I probably won't be involved with the TV show reviews or anything like that. I feel like I'm probably going to be doing just a non-spoiler review, and that's it, because I'm just kind of sick of the TV shows at this point. But I do want the Kenobi show to be a big success. I want it to be great. And who
Hmm.
knows? It could be, but I have no clue. We have no clue yet.
Yeah, indeed. So yeah, anything else, Jungle?
No, oh, there's a couple things by Tevia. Any opinion on how do you feel about the Old Republic new cinematic trailer showing Malgus going rogue and showing? Well,
I haven't
so
seen it.
yeah, I mean, CJ, you can get into that if you want.
I said I haven't seen it,
Oh, you
so
haven't
I
seen it.
cannot really, I cannot really get into it. Even then, that's more for another video.
Yeah, yeah. So any Old Republic stuff, I'm not familiar with. The Old Republic video game, I just don't follow. There's so much content out there that I just can't follow it, and I'm just not into MMOs and the stories. Yeah, it just gets
we
too confusing for me.
we need King Nazuru here or Darth
Yeah,
Harbinger.
they're more familiar with the whole Old Republic. I have no clue, so I can't comment on that, unfortunately, Tevia. So that's all I can say about that. Anything Old Republic related.
Mhm.
But that's
Yeah,
that's all
indeed.
we had regarding Book of Boba Fett. I can't think of anything else for
No,
this
I
live stream.
think that's it, to be honest.
Yeah, so we're just gonna end the live stream now, unless you have another question, Tevia. But we're gonna end the live stream. But
Mhm.
we really appreciate everybody joining. Please be sure to watch out for the State of Star Wars Episode 7 discussion. It's gonna be a really good one, as we go behind the scenes on for the episode on why that was
The
on the whole
entire show,
on
Book
the
of
whole
Boba Fett,
yeah,
actually.
yeah, on the whole series, frankly. Yeah, you're right.
Hmm. Yep. So stay tuned for that. It's coming out today.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, look forward to that. And as for me, I'm going to take a break from Star Wars. For me, I might do another EU story review or something. But other than that, I'm not going to do that much. I've just been like so distracted and not making videos at all because I've just been playing so much of Total War Warhammer 3. And I'm just like, I'm just addicted to it. I just can't stop. So I'm just like, so I apologize. I've been wanting to create more videos, but I've just been like, I can't stop playing. I don't want to do anything else. That's all I've been doing because it's a brand new game and stuff. So, but I love the
Warhammer
Total
3.
War series. So that one was I've been addicted to it, and I might even spend another week just doing it some more. So I might not even have a video next week, but we'll see. We'll see.
Maybe make a video about it.
I could, but yeah, we'll see. Well, yeah, we'll see. I'm not an expert by any means, but maybe if you guys are interested, I could touch base upon that and talk about it.
Mm, mm,
Uh,
indeed.
okay, okay, yeah. All right, so we're gonna end the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to please like this video, comment down below once this is out. But thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.
Bye.